Ever wondered how K dramas resonate when two friends in their 40s break them down? Arianne and I are about to take you through Doom at Your Service and Alchemy of Souls. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Today we have a special guest with us, Arianne. How are you? Welcome to G's Caleb Lounge. You are on season 2, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about who she is.
Well, hi, I'm Arianne, and I am such a huge, huge fan of your show. As you know, I consider myself the number one Unni Crew. Uni Gwen, I love you. But yeah, my name's Arianne, and I'm an English teacher by trade. I grew up in LA, so San Fernando Valley. Shout out there. And then I found myself on the Central Coast and living a pretty, what I would consider a very ordinary life. Teacher. I have two young boys, and I like to run. I like to read, all the normal things.
Mhm. And Ariana, you are so fun to hang out with outside of our workplace. So I just wanted to let you know that. I
Well,
always have tons of fun.
Well, how could we not? So Goonie Gwen and I met kind of, by a random chance. Somehow I overheard K-dramas and
Mhm,
it had just kind of come into my life and I had no one to talk about it with. So I heard you talking about it and then all of a sudden it was like
mhm.
sudden connection, your energy, my energy. And we made plans to go to the opening of a Korean restaurant downtown,
Honey Belly.
Honey Belly. And so you took me to my first Korean restaurant.
Korean barbecue. It was like all you can eat for $40. It's a little pricey over here. I kind of wish it was like in the 30 range, to be honest. And I vaguely remember that day. I think it was in the break room, and I was talking to somebody else about it. You were like coming in to look at your mail, and you were heard like, "Oh, what are we talking about?" And, "Oh, you guys watch, K drama." I was very shocked. I was like, "There's another one." There's another person that is, like, on my wavelength. It's so hard to find people around here in San Luis Obispo that,
Totally.
watch K-dramas, that listen to K-pop, and I was so intrigued, like, I just kinda wanted to be following you all around the classrooms. I think you also mentioned what you were watching, but gosh, it's been, like,
It's
years.
been a long time. I wanna say that, I had just finished probably Crash Landing. When you first see that first K-drama, if it's the right one too, I think that's another thing. Whatever one you kinda start with or that draws you in, and I was just so intrigued, and I wanted to talk to people about it, but unless somebody else has that similar experience, you can't talk about it, and so I consider Uni Gwyn my Yoda of,
Oh.
all things Korean. So every time I was like, "Oh, yeah, and this actor." I mean, I was just stunned by the beauty of the clothes and the richness
Mhm.
of the music, and the acting is superb, but above all, the storylines, which just draw you in, and I remember you saying, Uni Gwen, that you never know what's gonna happen in a K-drama, and that's exactly what made me go, "I wanna start watching these." It had become a little stale, right, watching so many American TV shows and American movies,
Yeah.
and, I'm gonna give a shout out. I love The American Office, but I replayed that out, and my husband and I love a Canadian show called Trailer Park Boys,
Uh-huh.
TPB. Shout out to my boy Ricky, but anyway.
Go ahead, take it, take it.
But no, and for those of you who are into K-dramas, if you do watch Trailer Park Boys, not the movies, but the actual episodes, you're gonna be like, "This woman likes K-dramas?" And yes,
Mhm.
yes, I do because they're so worldly different.
Yeah, and Unni Crew, if you haven't figured it out, Ariane's episode is gonna be on K-dramas. She wanted to do K-dramas, and I'm like, "Yes, we need somebody to pull us into the K-drama world." I have seen so many, so it's nice to hear what you've seen, but there's just, like, a ton. And there's also Chinese dramas. Obviously, those take longer to get through,
Yeah.
but they're still so good. I do watch them from time to time. I'm watching one, right now. It's called Pursuit of the Jade. It's on Netflix, and I'm on episode 22, but there's 40 episodes in total because I think they break them in half. So I kinda binge watched a little, and I finally got to, like, episode 22, but it's so good. So here's the thing. You haven't actually told me how you got into K-dramas. Like, I don't know the background story, and I don't know if you just clicked the button and said, "I'm gonna watch this." I wanna know how you got into it.
I like to call it my origin K-drama
Mhm.
story. We had kinda talked about what we were gonna talk about on your episode. So, I think part of it is the psychology of where so many people are at in America, right? COVID hits the scene,
Mm.
2020,
Oh, yes.
and my husband and we just had our first baby, and we tried so hard for that baby, and we finally get this baby, and now all of a sudden there's this pandemic. So,
Mhm.
we were one of those, families, like, the whole world shut down, and so did our world. And I remember I was losing my mind. 6 months turned into a year and things started opening back up, but in that time, what are you gonna do when you're stuck in the house all the time? We had watched all these shows and I was so bored of just the same old patterns, the same old characters. And so I'm watching Netflix one day and I see this beautiful woman and she's smiling, and there's this hot guy like, "Don't smile. I'll fire you if you smile." And then, of course, they have kind of like their
Oh,
pitch.
yeah, that
She
one.
has to smile for her job. He
Yes.
can't, he'll fire her if she smiles. So I was hooked. And then, of course, there's, part of the trailer was she's sitting on the toilet
Mhm.
and she's covered because the technology in South Korea just seems incredible. Half the see-through bathroom, is shaded.
Yes.
So you can tell she's on the potty
Ye
in a delicate position and he's looking for her phone, which she went to get. She has it and he's walking by and all of a sudden the phone rings and she's playing with like the tinting on the bathroom. And so he sees her and I'm like, okay, I need to see this. I need to see this.
Yes.
And it was just so
That was funny.
refreshing.
Do you remember the name of it?
Oh yeah. King the
There you
Land.
and he is so handsome, that actor. I can't remember his name, but
Is it Lee Jun Ho?
maybe.
She's Juna.
Yeah.
Please forgive my
Yeah,
mispronunciations too.
and always forgive mine.
But he had such an irresistible charm,
Yeah.
and I think, people talk about the
Yeah.
magnetism between the leads. I've
Yes.
watched a lot of K-dramas. They must do so many, like
Well, they're both from K-pop groups. She's from
Ah.
Girls' Generation, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he's from 2PM or it might be a different group. I never listened to him when he was in this K-pop group. The first group I ever listened to was obviously BTS. They were out before BTS, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it was King of the Land. I love that K-drama. If you haven't seen it, Unni Crew, you've heard it from Arianne. She wants you to watch it.
Yeah, while we were speaking, it is Lee Jun-ho,
Okay.
who plays Goo-won, and I wanna, Yuna fans are going to kill me for butchering her name
Oh,
because she's so delightful, and she plays Cheon Sarong, but,
yeah.
I think one of the things that drew me in was their love story and how artistic every
Mhm.
scene is in a K-drama, from the clothes to the music to even the body positioning, like, being an English literature
Yeah.
fan, notice like when and they do this, I've seen this trope or this pattern in a lot of K-dramas where when they're walking out of each other's lives, you'll see them like passing past each other and
Mhm.
when they're coming back in, or like an elevator might be bringing one to the other to show the reunion of their fate, which is
Yes.
another thing that I've seen throughout so many K-dramas that this must be so important to the Korean
Mhm.
culture is this idea of fate will take you to the one you're supposed to be
Yeah.
with. But I love that there were 16 episodes.
Sometimes, that worries me when I watch a K-drama. I'm like, "Okay, is it gonna be 16 episodes?" Because I don't want the K-drama that I'm really into to be rushed
Sure.
and disappointed with the ending. So I love when they're at least 16 episodes. I feel
Yeah.
like they have enough time to, move the story where they wanna go. Um, and also, I was gonna ask you, have you noticed the product advertising?
Help me out here a little bit.
The product advertising is I think something that I always look forward to. I was watching one with, Seo In-guk, and he's, like, my favorite,
Yeah.
K-drama actor, which is in
Boyfriend on
Boyfriend on
demand at your service.
Yes, Doom at Your Service. He's my number 1 because he just does everything so
He
awesome.
is fantastic.
He was in a K-drama where they were advertising the coffee, and so I remember it was like, Canoe Coffee, and the trainee that I was training, from South Korea in Disney World, and that's when I was a trainer at the time. Her boyfriend came to visit her from South Korea and bought me this big, huge box of Canoe coffee because I was like, "How easy is it for you to get Canoe coffee?" And she was like, pretty easy. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, can you tell him to bring me a box and I'll pay him back? I mean, but it was a huge box and they didn't want me to pay for it. It was her gift to me. So I just remember that, like kind of connecting. But it's also like skincare. They'll be sitting at a desk and then they'll be like putting on like the toner, they'll be putting on the
Yeah.
cream, and
Yep.
they'll highlight the bottles on their vanity. It's little things like that. And I'm like, I want to try. Like that gets me so excited because I'm like,
Yeah.
that's new. I haven't seen that. Or it'll be a different brand of coffee. I have to do an episode on Korean coffee because there's just too
So
many that
many.
I've tried, and I want to do a ranking system.
Yeah.
And kind of go into like the acidity and like the flavors and the sugar content and do like my best to least favorite. But yeah, I wanted to know if you ever have seen that.
Well, now that you're talking about it, I think of Copico
Yes,
candies,
when they
which
get tired.
and it makes everybody
Yes.
immediately happy. Funny story about
Yeah.
Uni Gwen. She's straight out of the K-drama. She pops in and around because we work together, and I never know when I'm gonna see her, but she's like my little Copico
Yeah.
fairy. She shows up and she always has this Copico, and I'm like, "It really does make you happy."
Yes, and other people have been asking me for it too, and, I know you know who Miss Manis is. I
Yeah.
just gave her a little satchel full of them, and she's gonna use them for her road trips, so
Oh,
she is
nice.
now hooked on, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
Sure.
Okay, the first K-drama you watched was King of the Land.
Yes.
So, what are your favorite K-drama gems, and why do they appeal to you? Anything that stands out, like, for example, the things that we're looking forward to seeing as far as, like, the first holding hands, meet and greet, or the first dinner, the first date. Those are like
Yeah,
me, I think of those as the gems because they
gems.
work so hard to get there.
Yeah, the slow burn moment. Yeah,
Exactly.
I like more of the witty repartee. I like when they're not quite where you see how there's that intense, like,
Mhm.
passion and attraction, but they're working against each other and not with each other, kinda that build up to, that first kiss, which we know there's gonna be some rain, some steamy rain kissing
Yes.
scene, and, as much as I love K-dramas, I do have a few critiques because who doesn't have a critique about anything? I love the story and the plot seems to get so good up until the romance is solidified. And then some of the K-dramas after the solidification of the romance, they take these strange turns that sometimes seem out of place with the story or keep building on the romance and it doesn't go anywhere. So even though I love the 16 episodes, sometimes it feels like the plot, if there's nothing more to give, it can be kind of like, where are we working towards? But that might be
Mhm.
also an American thing, right? We're always busy. We're always like, what's the next thing? Instead of just lounging in something that's incredible, like finding, your person.
And that's good that you said that. You mentioned that because next question actually follows into something like that. My question to you is what K drama has had the most impact on you personally, and why does it resonate with you?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's a really well-known one. There's 2 I'm gonna mention. There's Doom at Your Service and Alchemy of Souls are the 2 that
Ooh.
really affected me mentally, and also a strange one that I loved. I love the actress in it. She's so good. I need to look up her name. See You in My 19th Life, I think is the name of it, but
Oh, I've seen that one.
yeah, I'll start kind of with, Doom at Your Service. The premise is this woman finds out this horrible she has these tumors, I think it's called glioblastoma,
Yeah.
and she only has, like, 31 days or 100 I think it's 100 days because I've noticed there's numbers are really important, like 100,
Mhm.
1,000 years, and so she gets really pissed off after, like, the worst day of anybody's life, and she's drunk, drinking a bunch of rice wine, and she's like, "I want this world to just doom. I hate you, world." Sometimes that existential scream that we all have, and Doom appears and says, "Ha, I can grant you your wish because I don't want to exist anymore. And where there are humans, there is doom." So their fates are already tied. But there's this beautiful scene where they're both kind of like, fighting the connection. He is a celestial being who's lived for so long and he's tired of life, but also it's to be Doom has a lot of horrible things that he has to witness and be a part of.
Yeah.
And he's with her and he's like, it's kind of like their first date in a way, like,
Mhm.
come with me, see what I do. And there's the gift giver is coming and they're watching this Korean culture like to marriage and it's dying. It's not done anymore. And he turns to her, she's like, "Oh, I don't remember ever seeing, like, a gift giver before," and he goes, "It's meeting its doom." So it's just not people, and I was thinking about how in our cultures, right, that's true, it's not just people who die, it's culture dies and how sad it is. I wanna bring up technology with you
Yeah,
when it's appropriate.
yeah,
Like, technology is causing the death of so many wonderful cultural things too. So that moment was pivotal, and then another moment from Alchemy of Souls is when kind of like the twist on, are you really bad? Are you not bad? Who's the villain? I love gray area villains.
I like that too. I love that story. It was interesting to have 2 different, main actresses.
Holy moly,
Yeah,
right?
was not expecting that twist. Like, it made sense though, because one of them had to die in that body form, and
Right.
one had to keep living, and they're both beautiful, but
Yes.
the second actress was so pretty.
She
Oh,
is beautiful.
she's just, like, just natural beauty. The big eyes and the beautiful brown hair and fair skin.
But that's why they chose the one actress who she gets her body, the
Yeah,
juxtaposition of her being a commoner,
yeah,
right? With not those beautiful standout features, but
yeah,
because she was such this fiery spitfire, right?
yes,
Mudok is the, character's name.
yeah,
She just drew everybody in because her soul was, like, so powerful. But I think in that there's a scene as you go along into part 2, and, the woman who's kind of created this mess, she's come up from, like, humble beginnings,
mhm,
and she's been put in a terrible situation where she's a shaman, and she somehow gets power. Anyway, the real bad guy, the real villain, he is basically he has to sell her out, and she
mhm,
realizes the game's up, and she gives a speech about, like, it's not fair, essentially, just like at Doom at your service, it's not fair, and she's like, "I still have power, like, why do I get to be punished when all of you guys, you get to do all these things, you've shape-shifted, you've done this, you've wielded your power wrong, but why do I get punished? Why do I have to die?" And the bad guy says, "Because the ones with the power get to make the decisions,"
mhm.
and I was just like, "Please don't kill her now." You understood that character so well, and you're like, damn, she's right.
Yeah, and of course, they had a love story from childhood. Do you remember that? Because I think it had something to do with the tree.
Yes,
Yes, it had
that
this
beautiful
that beautiful
tree.
tree, and I think it was some type of nuts. I think it
Chestnuts.
was
It's
chestnut.
chestnuts, but
Yeah.
you're thinking of because there's always a love
Yeah.
triangle, the other actor who met her when she was younger,
Yes.
and you didn't know which
Oh,
love.
he was so
He's
handsome.
so handsome,
Yes.
and
Oh gosh.
yeah, and so I was actually at real odds as to who was she going to choose because I love that actor, and I was like, "I'd probably go with him,
Yeah.
actually, other than the lead, Jae-wook, I wanna
Yeah,
say,
PJ Wook.
because
He is awesome.
he's great, but I was
Yeah.
like, the other guy's more my style, but there's a 3rd guy who falls in love with her. His name is, I know he's like the prince in it, go on.
Oh, yes, I remember him, and they turned out to be good friends. Like, they
Yes.
had, like, this interesting friendship. I love that, though, for them.
But he wanted more, and she made him a better person, and he stills every scene that they're in. I mean,
Yeah.
he just had such a commanding
Yeah,
presence.
I think I rewatched it twice. I'm pretty sure I rewatched Alchemy of Souls.
It's definitely a rewatchable one, and that was one on my list where I was going to say, like, once the love story is kinda more cemented and you know, kinda you have a good feeling where it's going to go because you never quite know, um, that it had a point, it actually built upon the point, and I made some notes here about how I love the action scenes because sometimes I'm, like, dying for more action, I wanna see them fight, and I love this scene with Lee Jae-wook as he comes in and, you know, they've hurt his friend and they've abused their power, and he just tells them, "You're all going to die." And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I was like, "All right, let's see it happen," you
Yes,
know?
that drama until the end, it kept me reeled in. I just didn't know what the ending was gonna look like for him.
Yeah.
Because this whole time they were talking about getting,
The
yes,
Firebird
the
egg.
Firebird egg out, and I was like, "Okay, but they can't do that." So, like, what are they going to do? Like, he would die if they took it out, and so what are our options? Where are they going? Like, how are
Right.
they gonna finish this episode or this drama without killing, like, the main lead? But some K-dramas do tend to go that way sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's just just how it is, and those are, like, the ones that hit me.
Right, because it keeps you invested. And that
Yeah.
was again, going back to the origin story, like, I wanted something where I wasn't sure I didn't want necessarily a happy ending, I wanted good storytelling, but to have the ending feel authentic and not
Mhm.
just, "We're gonna people please, we're gonna give you the ending you want," and sure, there's a little bit of that in some of them, but
Mhm.
not always, and so that keeps you guessing.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to mention while you were here is, and I wrote down my notes too because, oh my gosh, there's just so much that we can go into. But you asked me a question a while back ago, and I wanted to answer it on this episode. Your question was, "What fascinates you about them?" So, like,
Yeah,
what fascinates me about K dramas is, and I wrote this down, the K dramas convey important life lessons. When there's a lesson to be learned, they have a quote that's full of wisdom. So I just love how they always integrate that
yeah,
into different types of, it could be ones of death, it could be ones of heartbreak, it could be losing a job, things like that. Just different things that, we as humans go through in our life. And I just love how when something happens, they find a way to make you feel better about, like, that little life lesson that you're supposed to learn.
right,
And just the way that they word things, they make you feel like, "Wow."
right,
You're just kind of like, "Huh," and it makes you think, gives you that little thing that you're missing. And I feel like that's why I like K-dramas so much more than American dramas because, yeah, we've got, like, General Hospital, and we've got all these,
yeah.
crazy situations that can happen to you and all this other stuff, but this is just so much more. I feel like they tie little things into the K-dramas and they make them special that way.
It's like watching art. Every scene is art, and it makes me also what you just said, think of, like, King the Land. Obviously, it's a hugely popular K-drama. It's available on Netflix, and it was one that I loved it because once the romance had begun, the story actually got even bigger. It went somewhere higher, and, there's these mythical chaebol that we hear about. Yes, they do live, in real life. How would you explain a chaebol to our
Oh gosh, he's
listeners?
definitely gonna be like the son of like a CEO that's
Mhm.
probably like, if you ever go to Korea, there's like Lotte everything. Lotte World was the amusement park. They have Lotte, supermarket that's huge, has everything you're looking for. Those type of companies, even like Kia over there, I'm sure, is
Yeah.
like huge, you know what I mean? Any son of the CEO or, like, owner, that is definitely a chaebol. I
Saying it
hope we're pronouncing it
correctly, and if not,
correctly.
please
Yeah.
forgive us. So, a lot of these shows center around a rich firstborn son, a chaebol, and, I've read that, like, in the real world, all these wonderful good-looking chaebols just, looking
Yeah.
for romance, which sadness. In King the Land, you have a working girl who meets and falls in love with a chaebol, and he's fighting against the class system. And I felt like that took such an important step in just understanding that culture, where even how they speak, there's something I think it's called honorifics, where you have to even speak a certain way to people older than you, and just the hierarchy. I mean, even when sharing that scene from Alchemy of Souls, when I was talking about like the woman villain, she's killed first, and before we get into, like, kind of the feminist idea of, like, where they are on the totem pole, I'm gonna reel myself into just the fact that you love the character, Lee Jun-ho plays because I think his name's Gu-won, and he fights his dad, and that dad must have so much influence in that culture, as it does in most cultures, where he sends a helicopter to go save her because
Mhm, mhm.
he's put her in a really bad situation because he was upset and she's working for him, and he defies everything, his status, the culture, and his dad goes, "Was it really that important to send a helicopter to save her or save that employee?" And he says, "Dad, have you ever saved a life?" It's such a crucial moment
Yeah.
because, the character is coming to the realization that it's just definitely unequal. Just the character and the backgrounds build to something beautiful and something better than just a romance.
Do you have any, recommendations you want to mention? Somebody who's never watched a K-drama before, where would you recommend them to start?
Well, depending on the person, I would say more streamlined K-dramas is a good place to start, just so that we can make sure that the experience is something that's gonna pull them into the world. I would definitely recommend King the Land, but maybe Crash Landing might be my first
Ooh,
choice
I
for
like that
somebody.
one. I didn't even know they were really together in real life until after I watched the drama.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
They
It
just, I believe, had their
s
second.
yeah, I don't like to have, like, a lot of information about, like, the main leads, but
Mhm.
that was, like, a real Easter egg for me, and I thought, "Oh, they act so well with each
I
other, like, they
know.
didn't slip up, and they were so professional." I could not do that with my significant other because I would be cracking up. I am not an actress.
Wait, but did they fall in love, like, during the filming, or was it before?
I think they were together before. I'm not, like, 100% sure. Well, now I'm gonna have to look it up and get back to you guys because now I'm curious, but Arianne also had one question for me.
I have
Oh my
a lot
gosh.
of questions
I
for you
know, but this
now.
one right here was one from, like, 3 weeks ago where you sent it to me because I was like, "Okay, I had to pick the one scene where I thought this was good." Your question was,
What
"What
is
is your
your favorite
favorite
kiss?
kiss?"
Love it.
Okay, I chose and recently I chose this. It was from King of the Land.
King of the Land.
Yeah, because it was the scene where he was cooking for her,
Yeah.
and obviously the fire went off and the fire was going off, so obviously
The
the
sprinklers.
sprinklers went off, thank you. And, he was cooking her dinner, and they kissed for a minute and 53
No, you
seconds.
did not time
Yes,
it.
I
I
went
love it.
back and I asked, Google because the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going for it."
Yeah.
And you really don't see that. You
Yeah.
really don't see that in a lot of K-dramas because it's just the anticipation of the first kiss that gets
Yes.
everybody going cray cray. But then it's like this one really gave it to you for a whole minute and 53 seconds. They just made it seem so, like, easy, careless and free and just, like, they had, like, this connection, and I just couldn't believe that I actually was seeing that with my own 2 eyes. I've seen a lot of K-dramas, and that was the only one that I have seen that has gone that far. If there's another one, guys, and you
Yeah,
know it,
tell
like,
us.
let us know because I'm on board to see it, but that was the first one I was like, "Oh my gosh," that one was, like, close to 2 minutes.
Well, and his shirt, right, from the
Oh, yes.
sprinklers, they're both in wet clothes, but you're seeing his abs, and before now I wanna go and time how long it took because 'cause they're getting really close, and he sets her up onto
You
the
should.
and I will,
You should.
but I think what did it for me is they're so close, they're about to kiss, and he's like, "Do I have permission?"
And he took so long.
I
Like, he was just
know!
inching, and it was, like, that moment of just, like, "Okay, we're all waiting together,"
Yeah,
and we're like, "Go further, go a little bit
we're
further," and
waiting!
we're waiting for it, and then it just happened, and I was just like, "Okay, I wonder if they practiced that."
I don't know because that is a big scene, huh, with all
That's,
the
and
water
then
and
everyone's watching
sprinklers.
you, by the way, like, I cannot do that. I'm not an
Yeah.
actress. I cannot
Yeah.
handle that, but, oh my gosh, yeah, that one was my favorite kiss
That's a
scene so
good
far.
kiss scene for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, there's not much that tops that one.
No,
Yeah,
no,
or
that's
trumps it.
I would
Yeah.
say that's on the top of my list. I go back to Doom at Your Service so much
Yeah.
because I love that scene too, where you just have this being who's been in so much pain and he's fighting, like, he knows that this can't go anywhere with this human, but he decides to take a moment and he wants to kiss her and, they're wet too. Again, it's a common trope we'll see in Korean dramas where the rain is coming down usually, and I love, again, I was like, "What's up with their umbrellas?" Like, because I remember in King the Land, she's dumping her boyfriend and she's with Lee Jun-ho and they're in the car and he's like, "What happened to your umbrella?" Because in Korea, I think you witnessed this while you were back there, it just rains
Oh,
unexpected. So they're always carrying an umbrella, and he's like,
mhm.
"What happened to your umbrella?" And she said it so artfully that I was like, "Wow, do they really talk about food and umbrellas this way?" And I came to see in so many other K-dramas that umbrella is really a metaphor for
Yes.
love and where they are in their love life. But, okay, so I have a totally, like, can I throw you a random question?
Sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with, like, I'm always so impressed with how you use your words and your subtle humor. And in a world where ChatGPT and AI is dominant, I feel so strongly that we're losing authentic voice, right?
Mhm.
How people speak. And you see these things written by AI and it's like soulless. Yeah, it's perfect, but it's soulless. And I was wondering how much of AI you had used with your podcast, but I'm so happy that you and I are just sitting here. We just brought our notes and it's all, I just wanted to tell the listeners, like, yeah, there's nothing that we had printed
Yeah,
out.
we
I
didn't
didn't
have this script, guys.
Nothing has been scripted out, and so but then I was thinking about this question. Do you think that AI and ChatGPT, like, how might it affect K-dramas, and what might that do to these authentic storylines that are so good because they're made by humans?
Well, so I've been watching K-dramas since 2016. So around the time that I started listening to K-pop, it was K-pop first, then K-dramas. So back before the time that we had AI and ChatGPT, the storylines that they came out with back then were
Mhm.
still good, and they were from producers and
Right.
writers, and they still equally and authentically wrapped me in. And in my opinion, I don't think it really is gonna affect it much because they've always had good storylines. I remember the first one I ever watched, my friend recommended it to me because she was watching it too. She's like, "You should watch it, it's really good." It has the singer IU, and IU is a very popular singer. She's really pretty too, and she can
Of
act.
of
Of
course.
course, and she's also in Hotel de Luna.
Oh,
That's IU.
yes.
I loved all of her
Uh,
outfits, by the way, in that drama.
so
They were so pretty. Whoever her
classy,
stylist
classic
is needs a
Hollywood.
raise. And so, I remember that one, and I loved that drama, but she was in this one, and I don't really wanna spoil it for
Sure.
anyone
No, no, no,
because
don't do it.
it's such a good drama. The only thing I will tell you is that there's something that happens in this drama where it affected me so much that I cried like as if somebody close to me had died because my shirt was drenched and not sweat, and I lived in Florida.
Oh,
It was drenched of tears.
wow.
And I remember my significant other came home and he's dropped his bag when he walked in because he saw me on the couch crying these tears,
No.
and I'm just crying and crying, and I can't really say much, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Gwen, what happened?" And I said something, and then he was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, he thought it was something that happened in my real life, but it was something connected to the drama. So he was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, I thought something bad had happened, like,
Yeah.
really bad had happened, like, to your family or your family member," and I was like, "No," I was getting, upset, kinda like
Just K-drama.
yeah, and so that one right there, I can't even rewatch it. I cannot bring myself to rewatch it, and it just hit me so bad. I remember after I finished watching it, I was telling my bestie Julie, "Why? Why did you why did you make me watch that, or why did you
Yeah,
recommend that to me? Second of all, why did the drama take that turn?" Because I'm like, that's just not something that I'm used to watching.
yeah.
I'm more, like, used to, like, happy endings and whatnot, so, obviously, there's, like, a little Easter egg there, but I just didn't understand it, and she was like, "Gwen, that's really common in K-dramas," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, where's the ones with the happy endings that, I can watch because I can't do that one again." And I just remember replaying, like, the best, shorts of the drama because I just wanted to, like, relive, like, the happy moments of it,
Right.
and so I would go on YouTube, and I would just, like, watch it, and, like, my boyfriend was like, "What are you doing? Are you still watching, like, shorts and videos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is so good."
Yeah,
And so that's why I feel like if that hit me back in 2016,
yeah,
like, and there was no I don't really think that it's gonna get affected much. The only thing, that I'm seeing now, because we're in 2026, is, like, Boyfriend on Demand is
yeah.
all about that
It's
AI.
so
It's that all about the AI boyfriend.
and I was so excited. When I was listening to I forget what podcast it was when you were saying
It was the episode 11.
episode
11.
11, and I was literally watching Boyfriend on Demand. I was like, "Oh," I got so excited because, it took me a few episodes to stick with it. The only reason why I stuck with it was 'cause Inguk
Sailing Gook,
Seo
yes.
Inguk, and I love him. He's what an incredible talent there. And now, like, after about episode 7, actually, I'd probably say maybe more like 4. It's hard.
Yeah.
We're working women, we go
Yes.
home late, and we watch
Ugh,
these things, and I have a
tell me
hard
about it.
time, staying awake. I wanted to get back, though. What was the name of the drama, though, that you were, like, crying to? What's the
Oh, did I not tell
No,
you the
I
name?
don't think so.
Oh my gosh, it's Scarlet Heart Rio.
Okay.
See it at your own discretion. If you're ready for it, it's really good. It's a really good story.
And yet it's your favorite one, even though it made you
Oh.
because it made you feel right? Like,
I know, and, not to get off topic, but it kinda has something similar. Violet actually watched and Violet's my kid, she's 14, she actually watched, a movie, a K-drama movie, and I think it's 20th Century Girl. I'm not, like,
mm.
100% sure, but it didn't have a good ending, and I came into her room, and she's
Oh,
just
no.
crying
Oh,
she just reminded me of myself on that couch
no.
back in, Orlando, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And I did the same thing. I was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she's like, "He died." And I was like,
Ah!
"Oh, yeah, Violet, I remember that. I remember this."
Yeah.
She's like, "You said you didn't remember." Like, "No, now I remember it now." The main lead actually died in, like, an accident, and there was no way that he got back to
Oh,
her, and she thought he was ghosting her this whole time when she was growing up, and it
yeah.
wasn't recently until, like, one of his family members found her and said, like, "Oh, he passed away," and she never knew.
Oh my
The parents didn't
gosh.
even contact her because he had moved. And
I've
so
got chills.
and
I've
so
got
I just
chills.
wanted to touch on that, like, even my daughter, it hit her, and it's like K-dramas, and I told him, like, "Don't watch those, watch, like, the high school ones."
I feel like we need to put a spoiler alert on this podcast, though.
Yeah,
Everything
I will, I'll put it in the
uh,
beginning, but they're still, like, worthy for you to watch and make your own
Mhm.
opinion on it. Like, I'm gonna take a K-drama differently than how you're gonna take
Yeah,
it,
for sure.
and so, like, I think everybody's opinion of them is important.
Yeah. Well, I know we're 2 busy moms, and I have a baseball game that
Uh-huh.
I'll be shuffling my kids to. I wanted to, like, just give a shout out, though, to a few of the K-dramas, and I do hope you have me back because I only got to hit a few topics on the 3 pages of notes I have.
Wow. Yeah, we'll do it part 2.
A part 2. And we have so much to talk about. It's so exciting, right? But I did wanna give a shout out to a K drama called The Haunted Palace.
I still haven't watched that
I
one.
love the artistry in it. I love the storyline, and it just keeps moving, and
Okay.
just both leads do such a great job. They're charming, and for whatever reason, I just wanna mention also just, like, in My Demon, when they go back into Fate, and when that actress is so beautiful, but when
She
she's with
is.
the knives, and I forget what the name is for, like, the Korean style of dancing with knives.
Oh, that would probably be in the book that you gave me.
I know, right?
If I had known that you were gonna touch on that, I would have been like, "And here's a little fun fact for y'all," but guys, we did not have this scripted. We never get to talk about this, for
Never.
long enough to actually go into, like, what we actually like and which ones we want you guys to see and recommend and just kinda, like, go at different angles of how, like, different
Yeah.
people take it for what it is.
Yeah, and also, if you want something happy and makes you smile, I love Business
Oh,
Proposal.
yeah.
You suggested one that starts getting a little dark, but overall, you can stomach through it. You're not gonna be in tears too much. There's mostly, like, fun and kitschy. It's My Boyfriend Is Cupid. Do you remember? You
Oh,
recommended it.
yes. Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, I really
I
like,
really
how
love
much
that
fun
one.
is that
The
one?
chain couples and I'm telling you, they had, like, that on-screen connection.
Seriously.
It just radiated off the screen. Like, they just worked so well. It was
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, she just really loved him. She never gave up on him.
yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Gwen, I feel like we have the red line of fate. You know how they have
Oh,
the red
yeah.
string of fate?
The string.
The string,
Yes.
I feel very tied to you,
Yes.
and,
Yes.
I'm just so grateful that you've had me on and all these good topics
Yes.
and topics to come up. Anything else for the Uni crew?
Okay, I have to mention this before we wrap this episode up, but you know what I really like?
What?
Is when there's 2 love stories that you're rooting
I know!
for.
Yes!
Okay.
Yes!
Yes, yes. I'm trying to think of one that had that, but there's a lot. There's a lot
There's
there,
so many.
and I'm just like, "Okay, I want them to work too." It's interesting. This has, like, happened a few times where I like the main lead. I know I
Right.
want them to succeed, but I want more of the second.
Yeah. So, you had mentioned in your, number 11 podcast
Mhm.
Lee Seo-hyuk, and he is such a scene stealer. He was at Doom at Your Service, but
Yes.
he's in,
Boyfriend on
Boyfriend
Demand.
on Demand, and he's got those soulful eyes, but he was in a K-drama called Scholar Who Walks the Night,
I
and
think I've seen that one.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's part of the B or C love triangle, but there's
Okay.
definitely, like, he loves a human girl and he's Gui, a vampire, and there's
Uh-huh.
just, like, wonderful scene where through just being a vampire that he kills her, and it's like it's just him in his lair with her and guarding her body,
Oh,
and he's
wow.
just looking at her and, like,
I
I would
like how you did all this research, by the way, because now you're, like, making me go back and be like, "Oh my gosh, I saw something like that."
well, I just wanna leave with that scene and on the viewer's head, but, he's guarding her body and, he's like, "I would have had you live for 1,000 years just to see you and your smirk at me," and just to it's just a beautiful scene, but maybe the next time I can come back, we can talk about fireflies and those beautiful fireflies that are so, important to the Korean culture and some of just like the ramen eating ramens and even how they have fun with their soju and their drinks and,
Yes.
like, just some of the happier
That's very
sides.
popular. And we will. Uni Crew, we are gonna have to come and have Arianne back on part 2. Like we said, there's just so much that we wanna go into, and there's not enough time. But did you have fun?
Oh my gosh, I had incredible fun. But next time, I want the soju,
Oh,
and we can serve
yes.
each other soju, but I would love for your listeners I want them to just, like, drop a line about, what was something that stood out to you, or if you watch one of these, something you wanna share.
Or, what I would like to know if there's, like, um, another K-drama that's really good that's on a platform that I haven't seen.
Oh,
I think there's
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and, I wanna say thank you to Arianne for coming
Oh,
over.
thank
I'm so
you.
happy that we did this. We've actually been waiting a long time to do this, so, like, months, people, and we're always busy, so, like, now that we're on spring break, we finally made it happen, and I really hope that you enjoyed our K-drama,
Episode,
and
podcast.
yeah, and I love it. I can't wait to have you back. We'll have to reschedule, but I'm gonna go ahead and let her say goodbye to you all.
Oh, goodbye, Uni Crew, and goodbye, Uni Gwen, who's wearing a demon.
My derpy shirt.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you guys, for listening to us, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.